I'm Lisa Taylor, president of Challenge Factory. Hidden Talent is a Challenge Factory podcast. Challenge Factory is grateful for the support of Veterans Affairs Canada through the Veteran and Family Wellbeing Fund.
Challenge Factory believes you should meet the changing world of work head on and take control of your future. Is your business prepared for the future of work? Well, this podcast series, along with the Challenge Factory Masterclass in Hiring and our Canadian Guide to Hiring Veterans, will help you do just that. Enjoy the show.
Ask a veteran to describe the experience and skills learned in the military, and you're likely to get the kind of answer we got from Chris Stoyles.
You know, how many years later, still struggle to figure out what words do I use to describe that. You know, I just basically say that I was a top tier soldier within the Canadian Forces and did a lot of high speed training and got exposed to some interesting environments, learned a lot of great experience, got a lot of leadership skills from the military, so learned how to be a leader and how to be led.
If you listen closely, Chris's description provides no real specifics that help you know just how skilled and experienced he is. It could be easy to assume he's not your next hire, but that would be a mistake. I'm Erin Trafford, and in this episode of Hidden Talent, we'll learn how military veterans like Chris can successfully transition from a highly organized, highly structured chain of command culture that's focused on the mission to a work environment that expects the individual to bring value to a product or service. In fact, the veteran may face a situation where small or medium-sized enterprises don't have much structure or process at all, particularly around recruitment or hiring.
I would love to tell you that I do have a templated process. I don't.
Janine Harris at Keyring Media is not unique. She runs a small shop with fewer than 50 people involved. So when it comes to the hiring process, she relies on what's worked for her in the past.
I have relied on my past connections because I knew a lot of these people. So I leveraged the relationships that we had already had. And that worked well because I knew what I was buying, basically. I knew exactly what these people could do. I had confidence in their skill and their creativity.
So for the military vet, Janine's world can look like a distant planet. And as Challenge Factory president Lisa Taylor will tell you, that planet often appears inhospitable for the veteran trying to find a new career.
Their whole life is the military. And they assume that everyone, the communities that they came from, where they live, when they return back to Canada, they assume that everyone is connected to what the military is doing all the time. So for them to come out of the military and realize not only do people not know what their military service means, it's not even, people aren't even aware that they're not aware. They're so disconnected from what's happening within the military that it's really disheartening and disconcerting.
That disconnect between the civilian world of work and military awareness is the genesis of the misaligned communications and misunderstood talents we discussed in the last episode. Trevor Vautour is a retired master corporal who worked as a project manager with Lisa and her Challenge Factory team. He experienced that disconnect firsthand.
From what I've learned throughout my time, being transitioned out and going through the transition process, is that there's a limited amount of information that is known actually about us and what it is that we do and how that we can actually impact organizations. In the military, we just assume, or I would just assume, that civilians understand everything that it is that we do.
It amounts to a predisposition or possibly even a bias that creates an unseen obstacle for both the veteran and the prospective employer.
It's more of an unknowing from us that you guys don't understand everything that it is that we do, and we don't know which parts of it that we need to actually advertise properly.
How do the transitioning military veteran and the hiring manager work together to come to a broader and better understanding of the potential in this work relationship? It works for both if they can focus on the skills, the tools, the capabilities the veteran can offer in service to the business. Chris says it took him a while for him to reach that aha moment in his career journey.
Unfortunately for me, not understanding how to sell myself, I said, well, I can work long hours. I don't mind working in the cold. I don't mind being hungry. I don't mind being wet. So I automatically just kind of looked at the construction industry as they do all those things.
Going through that type of work within a construction environment is a way of, yes, being part of construction and building buildings or constructing roads or subway stations or whatever it is that they're building. But it's a way of being in service because the work that he's doing is hard. It's work that not everyone will do, and he's going to step up and do it. So there's a piece there that is actually him exerting an ability to say, I'm proud of the work that I do and that I can do, and I will do what I need to in order to serve. The limiting factor for veterans that are coming out of the military is there's whole categories of jobs that they're just not aware of. They just don't know that that's a possibility or that their skills can translate. Most of the time, people that are providing career advice to veterans try to make a straight line connection. So you did this in the military. The closest thing that you could do in civilian life would be to do this.
Now, in Chris's case, the construction industry didn't simply provide employment for him. It set him on a career path in the infrastructure sector that's taking full advantage of his extraordinary experience and education. He's been promoted several times over, often through the encouragement of the leadership of the company.
And then as my confidence built and I started to recognize, wow, I'm actually excelling. I'm doing much more than people that are doing that have been with the business longer than me or have been in a position longer than me. And then once that confidence comes, then you're just like, okay, this is what I want to do. So then you start telling them, opposed to them telling you.
But that took a few years to work itself out for Chris. The question then is, what is the key to unlock that door? How does an employer get to the heart of the veteran's abilities right off the bat?
Ask the veteran, how did they prepare for the interview? So if you want to know how a veteran thinks and how they approach new situations, what skills do they have? Ask them how they prepared for the interview. First of all, you'll almost always be wildly impressed with just how much work they have put into making sure that they are ready and informed and aware of what's going to matter to you to the extent possible. They will shine over most of the other candidates that you will meet. They won't realize that the work that they've done in preparation is actually something that's quite incredible. But by asking veterans, how did they prepare for the interview? You're asking them to talk about something that they've done recently, and they've done in the context of your organization. And that immediately helps you to understand, how do they think? What do they do? What tools do they use? Who do they talk to? All of those kinds of things that are probably important for the job that you're asking about. And then with that rapport and with that, initial interaction, then you can move into more detailed areas.
More detailed areas that mean the employer or hiring manager is really starting to get to know the person who's applying for the position. As Janine explains, that disarming, establishing that rapport is significant.
I think those walls can be taken down. I'm more excited about talking to them because that sense of accomplishing a goal is one of the hardest skill sets to hire for. I have worked with many people who don't understand goals. What you're telling me about vets and the military, of course they have to reach their goals. So how can that not be a good thing? How can that even be a limit? So where do I find these people? I'm ready. Send them my way.
In fact, Janine may benefit in more ways than she imagines by hiring a veteran. Lisa says it all comes back to asking the right questions.
When we think about the hiring process, asking veterans, how would you make this process better? They can tell you in 6 steps, and they can probably document it and create the templates that you need so that it's consistent no matter who in your organization is doing it. And build in a process so that you regularly review and continuously improve the process in a way that's not cumbersome and overbearing, that is using the exact right amount of resources to get a return on that investment. That's what they know how to do. So the more that I work with veterans, the more I realize that, yeah, they're really, really good at finding where something is being done in a way that's not optimal and solving the problem.
You always try to come up with a solution. There's always a solution for a problem. Let's not put a Band-Aid on it. Let's actually fix the problem. So a lot of organizations don't understand how it is that we can come into, whether it be a small business or a large business, and actually provide gainful changes for that organization. The fact is that's what we do for our entire careers, whether it's through leadership, whether it's through operational output. We are always finding ways to be more efficient than what we were before.
Problem solving is a very important part of the role. Absolutely. Because small business, you have to be agile. You have to be able to shift focus very easily because things change so rapidly.
So what has the veteran learned in this episode of Hidden Talent? Chris says it's all about having confidence at expressing yourself and your capabilities.
I think you just need to be very bold. You need to tell them, this is what I want to do. And then you need to constantly be on them for, I need to do this course because you agree to my objectives that this is something I need to work on. I've accomplished this last year. As I noted, these are things that I want to do this year. So keep pushing hold your employer to the high standard that you hold yourself. So get back from them what you're giving them. Just constantly communicating with them and saying, if you want me to be better, I need to do these things. And then I will get better. And then obviously it's a return on investment for yourself.
For Janine, it was like a lightning bolt realization. The value and the talent of veterans. It created a personal epiphany of sorts.
I have never thought about this. Wow, this is such a revelation. They gotta have all the same skill set that we all do out here, not in military. Oh, that was my epiphany. Oh, dear God.
We've learned how to unlock the veteran's treasure trove of skills and capabilities. How does an employer evaluate education and the educational value of military service? In the next episode of Hidden Talent, when you ask the average Canadian to describe successful soldiers, they will certainly not say they lack confidence, but
they confuse education with intelligence.
Confusing education with intelligence. What is an employer to do if they are face-to-face with someone who they perceive to be large and in charge, and yet that person, a military veteran, is presenting with a bit of hesitancy? The hiring manager might default to misunderstanding them or default to stereotypes that just aren't true. Confidence, education, experience, and communication. Next on Hidden Talent. Now that you've listened to our show and have a sense of the depth of the challenges and the potential solutions for hidden talent, we invite you to enroll in the masterclass for employer-tested ways to tap into the hidden talent pool of Canada's veterans. Find out more and sign up by visiting centerforcareerinnovation.ca at the link in the show notes. Reach out to the team at Challenge Factory with your thoughts, ideas, and feedback, especially if you're a small business or military veteran. This podcast is produced by Story Studio Network.